Hi, this is the day the Lord has made. Let us rejoice and be glad in it. The signs of evil are all around us, and it seems the world has been turned on its head. Paul writes to Timothy, who he has ministering to the church in Ephesus, about the last days, and he explains what he knows about the last days. Are we in them today? The church has proclaimed it for a long time that we were in the last days. But do you think we're closer to the end than we were? Our devotion for today, September 18th, 2020, is from 2 Timothy chapter 3, verses 1 through 9. But I understand this, that in the last days there will come times of difficulty. Paul is telling Timothy about the last days before Christ returns, and he says that when the last days come, there will be times of difficulty. The Greek word helipos, which is used in the translation here for difficulty, that's how it's been translated as difficulty, carries with it the meaning of hard to bear, even dangerous. Okay, hard to bear, dangerous. That's what we understand these last days to be like. So Paul gives us a list of what people will be like in these hard times, these dangerous times, these times of difficulty. And you need to decide for yourself if you think we're in these last times. For people will be, are you ready? Lovers of self, lovers of money, proud, arrogant, abusive, disobedient to their parents, ungrateful, unholy, heartless, unappeasable, slanderous, without self-control, brutal, not loving good, treacherous, reckless, swollen with conceit, lovers of pleasure rather than lovers of God, having the appearance of godliness, but denying its power. Avoid such people, Paul says. All right, so can you imagine a time like what Paul describes that people are like? Are we already there? The church has been saying we're in the last days for a long time, but it sure seems like things are coming to a head, don't you think? Paul's words at the end of that verse, avoid such people, is good advice, and I hope we're able to. But who knows how far this craziness in cities like Portland and the violence in Chicago and Minneapolis and New York and in other parts of this country, who knows where it will extend to? Add to that the ridicule of Christians and their faith, the attempted legislation of limiting Christian gatherings, and the rise in humanness and the nebulous spirituality professed by many, as well as those who profess to be Christian but disregard Christian teachings of 2,000 years for more secular teaching, hoping to appeal to a greater population. And what have you got? Verse 6, for among them are those who creep into households and capture weak women, burdened with sins and led astray by various passions. Well, besides evil creeping into homes through the influence that they might see on television and through social media, there will also be home invasions and human trafficking, adultery and prostitution, and abortion, all working together to threaten the peace, the well-being, the health, and the safety of women, as well as men. And all the while, we're going to be told that these things like, prostitution and abortion are good for women and people. Verse 7, always learning and never able to arrive at the knowledge of the truth, just as Jannes and Jambres opposed Moses, so these men also oppose the truth. Men corrupted in mind and disqualified regarding faith. But they will not get very far, for their folly will be plain to all, as it was that of these two men. Well, Jannes and Jambres, if you don't know, they were the magicians in Pharaoh's court who matched Moses' show of God's power with his staff. When Moses would do something with his staff, they would do something with their staff, and it would be the same. And it appeared that they were able to, by the same God, do things that Moses was able to do. But really, they were just channeling evil. And they were willingly channeling evil for Pharaoh's court, just as some willingly channel evil today. Yet in the end, Jannes and Jambres' staffs were destroyed because when Moses threw his staff down and it became a snake, and they threw their staffs down and it became snakes, Moses' snake swallowed up their two snakes. And that indicated, of course, that Moses' God was indeed more powerful than whatever force they were using for their evil magic. Satan, perhaps? So don't lose heart at this onslaught of evil as it makes itself known. Its power will only be for a little while, and it cannot match the power of God, who was and is and always will be more powerful. Pray for Christians everywhere. Pray for the world to repent, and trust in the Lord, who is with us and who has us safely in his arms. Go in peace. Serve the Lord.